Hey everyone, Frescoar here from NOS Recordings, and this Friday we have a huge release coming out on NOS from Erick Diaz, and it's called What It Feels Like. I helped co-produce this track and helped bring Erick's vision to life, and today I'm going to give you a full track breakdown and walkthrough of how we made it. This is a UK garage inspired track. It's got that FM bass kind of wampy sound. It's got a little bit of a San Diego flair, a little bit of that NOS Recordings flavor. Erick wanted something deep, soulful, yet still perfect for the dance floor. First of all, a conversation came up about creating a track similar to other UK garage inspired tracks, and one of the common themes that I noticed in a lot of those tracks was the FM style bass. And if you're unfamiliar with FM, it stands for frequency modulation, so I'm going to walk you through that. That's the first thing that we started with when it came to this track. Okay, so here's the session. On the left you see the extended mix, on the right you see the radio mix. So first I started with this bass line, so here it goes. So here's the bass line that I programmed for this. If you're unfamiliar with frequency modulation, it's basically taking one wave and modulating the other. So as you can see here, I have it frequency modulation from B, but the B level is turned off. And what I did is I mapped this envelope right here, envelope 2, over to the modulation. So if I play it, you can see that it's moving. I also mapped this same envelope over to the cutoff on this filter. You can hear some grit in there. I left that grit in there. I thought it fit well. Basically, the envelope itself was just no attack, standard decay, standard sustain, and just a little tiny bit of release at 342 milliseconds. Ultimately, this was the whole beginning of the whole track. And you can see some of that grit is coming from this max bass by Waves. If I turn this off, it's there, but it's getting enhanced by this plugin. And so the next thing I did was the drums. So let's go ahead and solo this whole section right here. Ultimately, I just basically have a standard UK garage style drum set. Your standard 4 on the floor kick drum. There's a loop here that's giving some of that percussion element in it. I ended up not going with this one. I had this kind of shuffling hi-hat pattern. I ended up not using that. That's what the yellow means. And as you can see, I have these hats. There's a little bit of a loop in there right here. So I basically took this whole break beat, and this is actually a sample. You know, it's so minute, you're probably never going to notice. So then basically what I did is I put in little odds and ends, little hi-hats here and there, as you can see, just to give it flavor. These are in the breakdown. And I have a couple fills right here along with this ride, and that makes up pretty much all of the drums. Here's the fills. So all together, when you play the drums, you get this. Now let's bring in the bass. And remember, the bass right here is being modulated. So at the lower extreme, it's only at 15%, but when you get over here, we're getting at 21% on the modulation amount of the FM synthesis. And that's what gives the track its wampiness. You know, that's a very common sound in UK garage, and that's what I went for. Next up, we have the chords that play throughout the song in the breakdowns, and I'm just going to show you what I did here. So basically, there's a lot going on. Let's start with the music itself. So here, I programmed a pad in the old Serum. This is actually an old sound of mine. It's just a simple PWM Juno wavetable, and it has a little bit of movement with this LFO, as you see. This wavetable position is moving, this cutoff is moving, and it's just giving it some shape. And from there, it's all about the MIDI pattern. Notice how the pattern itself changes. Each color represents a different pattern and a different voicing. So here, it starts off low and goes down. And then here, it gets higher, lifts up. And then finally, And you hear how the sound is changing? That's because I automated a couple parameters here in the Serum. So I'll put the Serum right here so you can see what's going on. First of all, the unison detune is being automated right here on this last bit. Second, the filter cutoff, which is this right here, is being automated on this last almost half, last third basically. And then finally, you have a filter just increasing over time, which is right here. So if I play this section, I'll start it from here so you can see, you'll see all of these things gradually increasing. And that is how you get your sounds to change over time and make the listener stay interested. Next, what I did is then I took the same chords that I used. As you see, they're alternating, the same ones from the beginning, and I put a trance trigger gate on them. So I use this Alex Hilton A1 trigger gate, and that basically sounds like this. Lastly, I then did a turnaround chord, so that just does that. And what I did here was I used a very old sound of mine from me and Lavelle Dupree's Cola remix that we did. Man, probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. This was a Serum 1 preset of mine, and I used it on the turnarounds and just gave it a little spiciness. So you can see here, there's just that, and there's this. And yeah, there's a little bit of reverb and delay on those, giving it some character and giving it some depth and space. What I then did is I just printed that to audio right here. And then there's a little bleep, which I just took from this sound right here. Basically, I like to create sounds from sounds in my session. I have a lot of tricks to do that. If you're curious about that, you might want to check out my Distinct Mastering YouTube channel. I'll leave you a link to that down below. I give a lot of music production tips and tricks away. Then what I did is I made another synth here with Omnisphere. It's just one PWM D50. And if you go to the modulation, the only thing that's being automated is I have LFO1 modulating the cutoff. And what it's doing is it's just increasing over time. And this pattern is essentially the same pattern as the ones you see here, just a different sound, giving it some character. So let's play all this together. And then I layered that once more with this sound. So this is just a simple. And what this is doing is it's just increasing a filter. So this is another Serum sound. It's just a rounded saw. And it's just got a few things being automated. Same thing here. So if I were to show you what's going on, it's basically just moving with this LFO. And it just starts over. And it just gives it some character. So basically all this is doing is just modulating this synth in 3 areas. The LFO is modulating the unison detune. The LFO2 is modulating the wavetable position. That's this one. And then yes. So this envelope is adjusting this rate right here. All of the sounds in this are very simple. You know, it's just clever programming and it's what gives it that character. So basically from there, what I did was I put in the vocal, and there's a lot of automation happening in the vocals. Let's turn the vocals on. In the chorus, it's basically just the main vocal. I chopped it all up. Here there's a false drop. And that's where I looped this up just to keep the tension building before the final release. And from there, it basically just kind of goes along and has chops. But to give it more extra flavor, I then chopped it up even more. And as you can see, all this is doing is just playing some chops. This is what it feels like. And that is how I got those, and then from there what I did is over here I played some more chops. So I opened up the actual amount of the transients here with this sensitivity, and if I hit this, as you can see, if I pull my keyboard out, so that's how I got the. So as you can see what I just played. And then at the final drop, I also just did this little stutter effect right here with these chops. And you get all my automation sending to different effects, but giving it all its flavor. Reverse reverb tail, and yeah, so lastly what we have is just a bunch of effects giving you all of the transitional movement, all that good stuff, you know. So all together, so that is the Erick Diaz What It Feels Like track breakdown. I hope you found this useful. I'm Frescoar from NOS Recordings. Don't forget, this track comes out this Friday, August 29th on all platforms. You can pre-save it with the link down below. And if you're watching this video after the 29th, make sure you go check that out on all platforms. Spotify, Beatport, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever. SoundCloud, it's all there. Make sure to follow NOS Recordings for more videos like this. We're going to be doing these regularly. I also run Distinct Mastering, which you can find links to that down below if you need help with your music production. I give a lot of tips and tricks away on that channel, and I offer mixing and mastering services if you need help. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please drop us a comment. Please follow NOS Recordings. Hit that like button. Hit the bell notification to keep you up to date on future videos from us, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.